Have the government and the Saint Lucians working for Global Port Holdings sold out Saint Lucian ports for $1 a year?
I want to categorically say that we did not, as a Saint Lucian, first of all, we as a Saint Lucian did not sell out the port for $1. And as a company, we did not,
You see, what I'm trying to get at is, when we're hearing this $1 a year thing, we have to ask ourselves, what do we get? What do we get if GPH is getting 90% of the income from the cruise port tax, is it?
Lancelot Arnold is the Saint Lucian who heads up Saint Lucia Cruise Ports and GPH in the Eastern Caribbean. He is bound by a non-disclosure agreement, but agreed to an exclusive interview with Choice News, where we pressed him on what Saint Lucia stands to gain from this politically controversial agreement.
What does that amount to in dollars?
That is upwards of, right now I'm trying to, the overall investment was, like I said, 60 million, 20 million of which was used, 17 million US was paid to SLASPA to pay off the debt, so the balance is what's outstanding.
And are you bearing the operational costs that we would have over there? Are those still our operational costs?
No. So as part of the concession agreement, SLASPA gets a part of the head tax. We use the head tax, that's our form of income. We use the head tax to facilitate all of the operational expenses associated with managing cruise in Saint Lucia. And in doing that, we have, as part of the agreement as well, we only have Castries Seaport and the Soufrière Port. Those are the two ports that we have responsibility for. So we don't have responsibility for Vieux-Fort.
If Arnold is correct, Saint Lucia gets a minor portion of the cruise ship head tax, more than $100 million for port upgrades that Saint Lucia owns outright, and millions in debt relief for the Saint Lucia Air and Seaports Authority. It also gets total relief from millions in operating costs for the cruise ports at Castries and Soufrière. That amounts to more than $100 million US debt-free, depending on how much Saint Lucia Cruise Ports can rake in from the cruise industry in the coming years. But the question now is not whether it is a good deal, but whether Saint Lucia could have gotten an even better deal, given that the current administration did improve the original GPH agreement once they took over in 2021.
I can't speak specifically to that. Like I said, I joined Saint Lucia Cruise Port. I was appointed as GM of Saint Lucia Cruise Port and Director of the Eastern Caribbean in December of 2023. The agreement predated me. The agreement came in August of 2023, and I was not a part of any of those negotiations. So, but similar to you, I've heard that there was a better agreement once the deal was signed. All parties had to agree on at that level.
So, in your professional field, like Lucian to Lucian, if you can manage that, given your position, is it not possible that we could have gotten a better deal, a percentage profit-sharing agreement, rather than $1 per whatever?
No, but what you say, what you're looking at is, as in anything else, in any agreement, people could say that anybody could have negotiated better. That's just generally how somebody could perhaps work on it. I've in my career, working as a general manager of or CEO of NIPRO or any of those instances, when you've concluded a trade union agreement, there's always the question, someone always says you could have negotiated a better deal. That's generally what it is. I think at this point, as a Saint Lucian, that Saint Lucia is benefiting tremendously from this. And I'm not speaking from the perspective of GPH, I'm speaking from the position of a Saint Lucian, because I'm a Saint Lucian first.
Choice News also confronted the GPH director with questions about this year's cruise industry decline, the Banans Bay relocation, whether the company has interest in taking over cargo operations, and accusations of corruption. Over the next few days, Choice News will deliver Arnold's answers to the tough questions, as well as whether GPH is interested in staying in St. Lucia when their current deal expires. For Choice News Now, I'm Jason Seaflay.